All right, so Black Ops 6 multiplayer review. We looked at the single player review. They gave it a 5. So let's see what they say about the multiplayer. I'm assuming it's going to be way higher.
Battlefield 6's multiplayer action is
it's just, again, already, like, the campaign, when I looked at the, sorry to pause it so fast, but the campaign didn't look as good as this. Even the footage that they took, like the footage that they took for the campaign, the footage that they took for this, I don't know, it just didn't look as good. Like it seemed like they put most of their efforts into the multiplayer, which is, you know, I feel like we could say that for a fact, right?
all about layers. You have the infantry layer, where teams exchange gunfire on foot. The land vehicle layer, where tanks reshape the front lines and bring entire buildings down. And the sky layer, where a small number of flyers hold the potential to flatten ground forces outright.
Come through sweeping.
What's impressive is not only that each layer is so different, but also so well constructed, and somehow they all fit together seamlessly. A few of the maps have a bad habit of becoming sniper-infested hellscapes, and it takes too long to unlock the better equipment that makes your loadouts really interesting, but those are minor gripes with what is otherwise one of the best multiplayer shooters of the year.
As far as like it taking longer to unlock shit, that's a skill issue, because if you're really booming shit, you'll upgrade fast. That's any shooting game, so that's a skill issue thing. This is coming from somebody who's not that good at FPS games.
Most of the fighting happens between general infantry, and great moment-to-moment gunplay is the anchor of the whole experience. Weapons look and sound awesome, especially if you have headphones or a good sound system to pick up the deep booms and subtle details like bullet casings falling to the ground.
That's a fact.
Guns are accurate, but account for bullet travel and drop just enough to reward skillful shooting.
Woo!
So the modest recoil and bullet spread in most weapons also means you don't need to be a hardcore shooter veteran to be able to land shots. There are 4 classes to choose from that are well balanced overall despite having very distinct identities. Running and gunning as the assault class is a lot of fun, but switching gears and focusing on keeping your allies alive as a medic is rewarding in its own right. Using your defibrillator to keep your team's collective stock of lives from draining while simultaneously getting one of your fighters back in the action can help turn a match of attrition, even if you choose to be less involved in the actual combat. It's great for ensuring that anyone can contribute by playing a role well.
Indeed.
Let's move!
That said, I have some mixed feelings about how the loadouts are assembled. Any class can equip any gun, and while I appreciate the freedom, it's hard not to want to just put my favorite assault rifle on every class and call it a day. Sure, there's a bonus effect for using the weapons traditionally associated with each class, like how the sniping-focused recon class has a faster rate of fire and better accuracy while using sniper rifles. But the effects are modest enough that I quickly found myself ignoring them. That's not to say that classes don't matter. You still need to be an engineer in order to repair tanks, for example, but the lines are a little too blurry for my taste.
He kind of just contradicted himself, man. I don't know, man. I don't know about this review, man. I pause it more than I normally pause because he's just saying
how long it takes to unlock things between matches. Most equipment and weapon options require you to reach certain levels or complete multi-tiered challenges to access them. That's all well and good, and a standard set of daily and weekly challenges help keep the level ups from being a painful slog, but the requirements are too high. You can't even start working on the class-specific challenges, which are necessary for earning alternate subclass-like training paths, until you hit level 20, which could take dozens of hours. Given really powerful equipment options like the deploy beacon are locked behind that, it holds back the early experience an unfortunate amount before eventually hitting its stride.
Okay, I understand that. Some people don't want to grind too hard. I understand that.
The next layer up is when vehicles get involved. While relegated to the larger maps, all hell starts to break loose in the best way with their arrival. A tank rolling down the street creates equal parts control and chaos. They are a focal point of every fight, able to send the enemy scattering as its machine guns and cannons erupt. As buildings explode and debris rains down, they also become the most important target to clear. Whether that means calling in a tank of your own, switching to the engineer class after getting taken out so you can fire rockets, or something else entirely is up to you. But the way vehicles flip strategic calculus is extremely effective for keeping matches interesting. I also appreciate that, while not necessarily hard to use, tanks do have a higher skill requirement than fighting on foot. Knowing when to use defensive countermeasures, or when to push forward to seize territory rather than retreat, and let friendly engineers repair you means a good tank commander stands out, and they can make or break a match if handled correctly. As a bit of an aviation nerd, I'm a sucker for the final layer, the skies. I love getting in a jet, winning dogfights, then strafing the other team, with some bombing runs mixed in for good measure. Airplanes and helicopters make it fun to be in the skies, terrifying to be underneath, and so satisfying to shoot someone down with a well-placed rocket while on foot. They have the highest skill requirement, asking you to learn complex sets of controls and have a more nuanced understanding of how aircraft operate in order to best utilize them. I'm okay with that in principle, but the lack of a good method to train or practice those skills also means joining up with a newbie pilot often ends like this.
We're going down!
There's a great firing range for trying out guns, and the lack of a similar option to practice flying means fewer players will be able to enjoy success in the skies.
I mean, all that would take is some trial and error. People be too afraid of protecting their KD that they won't just go and play a bunch of matches and probably lose a lot and have negative KD, but you gaining valuable skill on these new weapons that you're trying to learn.
The classic smash.
Damn, my ad blocker not hitting. My ad blocker not busting, bro. I got caught with an ad on the video in forever. Yeah, I had to get right real quick. I had to fix my shit. I got all my extensions back. I had to log in to my Chrome. Like, that was uncharacteristic.
Battlefield modes return, and they're just as fun as ever. Team Deathmatch is a good warm-up, but the 64-player battles of Breakthrough and Conquest remain the standouts due to their stunningly massive scope. The former asks one team with limited lives to capture points and advance the front lines against limitless waves of defenders, while the latter has both teams fight for control of shared territory. They're good at funneling the action towards specific areas, leaving room for big battles in the streets and skies while up-close and personal skirmishes happen on the objectives. Beyond that, you have options like Rush, a Counter-Strike-like mode focused on smaller groups that became another one of my favorites due to its instant action and short duration, making it a good alternative for quicker sessions where I don't have time for a prolonged tug-of-war. The brand new Escalation mode has also impressed, having you fight for a large number of control points that decreases over time, forcing more and more intense battles as you near the end. I like that quite a bit, as the changing shape of the battlefield necessitates a fun shift in tactics throughout. There are 9 maps.
Yeah, this one is fun. I think Delta Force has a similar mode to that. I played Delta Force a couple times, and they had a similar mode to that what he's talking about right now.
At launch that are generally strong, ranging from the crowded streets of Saints Quarter, which is perfect for close quarters action, to the enormous vehicle-filled Operation Firestorm. Empire State is one of my favorites, with a great mix of open areas full of roads, buildings to duck into, and rooftops to snipe from. It's a tactical advantage to learn the map, and knowing that seizing the rooftop of a building opposite an objective point so you can wipe out an enemy squad from on high emphasizes the thoughtful nature of Battlefield 6's combat. Not every map is a winner right out of the gate, however. Liberation Peak has already become a well-deserved meme in the community because of how one hill is always filled with snipers, which really take away some of the class balance that Battlefield thrives on.
Yeah, I hate that map.
Mirak Valley is pretty similar, particularly in games of Breakthrough, where the attackers have too little cover in their push against a team of sharpshooters. And while I really like New Sobek City overall, with varied terrain and joyfully destructible structures that help it stand out, it can also become littered with anti-vehicle mines to the point of rendering tanks useless. That might be more of an issue with how the mines themselves are balanced, as they have a tendency to become far too numerous very quickly, but it takes away from what is otherwise a top-tier place to fight. It certainly helps that the maps all look great, especially once you factor in their excellent destructibility. Chunks of cement rain down as bullets collide with buildings, cars and buses explode, and cover can be erased in an instant with a well-placed shot from a grenade launcher. Bring a tank to bear and you can crumble entire buildings, changing the terrain in ways that are meaningful, never quite the same from match to match. But the most impressive part is how all of it comes together. There was one moment where I was in a pitched battle for control of a zone in the construction sites of New Sobek City. The enemy was entrenched until I rode my tank in, smashing through a wall and a few support columns in the process. Dust and debris covered everything, but I ignored it as I sprayed gunfire from my machine gun, and my teammates mopped up the rest. It was gorgeous and something you simply won't find at this scale in any other game. Battlefield 6's multiplayer action is expertly crafted, wrapped in a wonderful layer of destructibility that both looks great and material affects the flow of combat. The gunplay is excellent, with weapons that are
the gunplay is really good.
Reward skilled shooting, but have just enough sway to promote a bit of careful thought while you take aim.
The TTK is not bad. It's not that
I wish
bad.
the early progression didn't delay the fun of loadout building quite as much, and a few of the maps would benefit from some rebalancing, but most of the options play really well overall. Besides, those are minor gripes with what is otherwise a great time. Like a precision shot from my trusty M2010 sniper rifle, this one's a hit.
Wow. 8, I figured.
Executive Reviews Editor Top.
8, I figured they'd give it an 8. That's pretty. It sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty accurate. So yeah, let me do my little 1-2. Hold on. So Battlefield 6, the campaign review is in from IGN. They gave it an 8, and I thought they would probably give it a 9 because I don't know. I really enjoyed the beta, both weekends. I definitely plan on getting this game. The game modes are dope. The gunplay for me is like the highest point for that because the TTK is not that bad. And I like the guns. I like how responsive all the guns are. I like the sound design behind the guns, the weight. You feel the weight of the guns. You hear the impact of the guns, and obviously the vehicles. That's what Battlefield is known for. The vehicles. I like the flying. I didn't get to fly in the beta, but it looked cool. His gameplay looked cool. Any gameplay I seen looked cool. The tank. I was able to use the tanks, the helicopters. Man, it was man. I'm just getting excited talking about this. Yeah, I really want to cop this game. So 8 out of 10 from IGN, not bad. Yeah, so y'all let me know how y'all feel down in the comments, right? So you already know the vibes. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's your boy JusticeXFalls, and we out. 1.